Hello and welcome back to the channel for another F1 2019 career episode. I think it's episode 28 now. And it's the French Grand Prix for season 2. We went pretty well here last season. I think we scored a podium. So hopefully we can replicate the same sort of results, if not strong points. It should be a nice dry session for us. We've got a couple of new updates coming to the car, both in the chassis area. So hopefully that should really help the car and bring us some performance. There is also a brand new pit entry that well, it's been in the game a while now, but obviously we haven't done this circuit since last season, so that's going to be something new for us to be able to tackle. It would just be interesting to see how quickly the cars go this season. It's a very fast layout. There's two straights and a chicane, which remind me a lot of Le Mans circuit, which I go really well at if you've seen my GT Sport episodes. But moving on to qualifying, first attempt. We hit the DRS and we come across the line to start our lap. We need something fairly strong, just a banker really. We've gone out a little bit later than we normally do, just for a bit of free air on the circuit. Only going to do 2 runs this qualifying session. And we come across the line, that puts us second place. So not a bad banker. As you see, we've already dropped down to third, so the 2 Red Bulls are going well here. They're about 3/10 up on us. They do have the best package, as we know. They're very quick through the high-speed corners, and there's a few high-speed corners in this circuit, so it's unsurprising they're in front. Lando's down in 9th, so we really need him to pull something out the bag for this to work. But coming through on to our final attempt, this is the lap that's going to count for us. So we come across the line, we're already up, so we've got a good exit out the final corner. That's what you can ask for. We brake at the 100-metre board, slam the car in 4th gear, back on the power as early as possible, but come off a little bit. We run a little bit wide, which is going to hamper this lap. You see we're starting to lose time on the time delta in the top right hand corner. Brake just after the 100-metre board into turn 3 and 4. Took way too much curb on 4, so that spat us out a little bit on the rise up to the long straight. There's a lot of understeer through turn 6, but we are the fastest man through the first sector, so that's something to hold on to. But we will be losing speed to the other guys down this straight because we've not had a great exit. Now into the chicane, flick the car left, 3rd gear, keep it nice and tidy, and we've got a good launch through there. Now next up is the fast right hander of turn 10. Keep the foot flat to the floor. And now a little bit of braking down to 6th gear. Now down to 5th, get a nice, hook it up nicely with the apex of the corner and then punch out. This is what I was talking about with the long corners, the long fast corners. This is where Red Bull really have their advantage, but we've had a really good section there and we're up half a second on this lap. Big lock up into the final corner though. A little bit distracted by the Ferrari in front, and that will be our qualifying lap, so it'll be interesting to see where we are on the grid for the race. So it's on to the race day now. It's raining for the season 2 French Grand Prix, so that's going to be a new element for us to be able to deal with. As you know, we don't go super well in the rain. From Monaco earlier on in the season, we were backing up the pack through a lot of the corners there. This is a lot wider, you can overtake. You got the long straights, 2 DRS zones, so as you can see from season 1, it's going to be difficult to hold cars behind, but it will be easy for us to overtake. Moving on to how the grid forms, we did indeed take pole position somehow over the 2 Red Bulls. Butler managed to secure 2nd place, Bottas 3rd, and then you've got the surprise for both racing points up in 4th and 5th, so they've got a good package here. Lando only managed to pick up 6th, which is a little bit disappointing. Verstappen takes 13th. He had a grid place penalty, so that's not his true starting position. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens from his perspective. We're charging through the field. It's important for us to pick up some points over the Dutchman because he's going to be our main championship rival along with Lewis.
Light rain will stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
So it is raining on circuit, but it doesn't look like there's much standing water. So we are all on the dry tyres, which is a little bit surreal. We did have a bit of understeer there on the formation lap, so it's going to be an interesting start. We have 5 red lights here in France, and we are go! We've had a good start, opposed to the Red Bull, but I think the Mercedes behind us is a lightning start as well. But we could be leading. We are leading for the first time on a race start. As the Mercedes going to the escape route pushes us off the track a little bit, which is going to compromise our exit down to turn 3. That's Bottas to the inside of us. We're going to have to slam the door on the Mercedes here if we want to keep our position. And that indeed is what we do, with the racing point of, I think, Charles Leclerc coming through there. Yeah, I think that is Charles Leclerc as we come through turn 6. We take a very narrow line through that corner, which hasn't helped our exit, which means we're going to be a sitting duck down the main straight. Sorry, down the back straight. So we go 3 cars wide. Make that 4 with Gasly. It's going to be last of the late breakers. A bit of contact between me and Charles. We're not happy about that. Need to focus on the braking of the corner. We managed to keep the lead of the Grand Prix, but there's a battle for third between the Racing Point and the Mercedes of Bottas. I think that's Gasly and Bottas. And the Racing Point's hanging it round the outside. It's going to be a bold move to stay in there, but he does, especially in these very greasy conditions. Bottas is not giving up the position. Surely the Mercedes must hold on to it now. But the Racing Point does not give up track position on the outside and now has the inside line for the next left-hander. And yet the Racing Point does get that position to reset fastest lap from the lead of the Grand Prix onto lap 2. So it looks like it's probably going to be intermediate tyres for the next stint if the rain keeps falling as it does. But we're not seeing standing water fall.
The track conditions aren't improving. It's your choice as to whether you want to fit the wets next time you come in.
So without standing water, there's no real point for the, well, definitely not for the heavy wet tyres or the intermediate tyres at this point. I know we're about 14 seconds off our pole time. So the question is, when is the cut-off? I'd imagine it'd be around 18-20 seconds, but we're not really hitting that at the moment, so probably not the right time to switch.
This rain could be with us for a while. Light rain conditions for the foreseeable future.
So there's the McLaren team confirming the rain will keep falling, but at this intensity, who knows what the best strategy is. Clearly McLaren don't. But we have a gap to the car behind. We have a gap to the car behind, both racing points, so hopefully.
Now, we're boxing this lap.
So this is our pit stop lap, our scheduled pit lap, if it was a normal dry race. Obviously, because it's a little bit greasy, it's a little bit wet, we need to play the long game here and think about the future. I mean, if it starts to pour down with rain a bit more in the next couple of laps, then we would waste a pit stop effectively. So we chose not to pit this lap, stay out, stay on these set of tyres. They're not near puncture window or anything like that, and no one else pits either, so everyone's doing the same sort of thing.
We're leading our teammate by 3.5 seconds.
Okay, so that lap was a 47.1 and we've gone deep into turn 1, so maybe it is time to look at the inters as a change of tyre, because we're definitely hitting near the crossover period. And that's Gasly's got a good run on us, so this could just be tyre where we go defensive. There's contact with the Racing Point and we keep the position, but Gasly's gone to the outside. We've got a warning for that, so there must have been some misdemeanour in there. Third gear to punch it out of the chicane, and we stay where we are. The Gasly's drop back into the clutches of Charles. So this is it on the replay. Actually, from a little bit earlier on in the laps, you can see we slammed the door on the Racing Point there. Gasly home Grand Prix as well, so expecting the Frenchman to be quick. This is also the home Grand Prix of Renault, which is our engine supplier, so there's a fair bit of pride at stake for this one. So Gasly gets a fantastic run, probably in a higher engine mode, dives to the inside, but we cover him off. fairly aggressively. Was that 2 moves across the track, or was it 1 move across the track? I would say it was on the edge of the rules. So lap 7 we're still staying out. We've gone out an extra 2-3 laps now. But as you can see, the Racing Point of Charles Leclerc has decided to pit. So this definitely changes the dynamic of the race. With the Red Bull, I think that's Verstappen and Lando both in. So it's interesting McLaren have prioritised Lando over ourselves. Don't know if that was a call from the driver or the team. But Lando's been held in the pit lane there. Must have been a lot of traffic coming through. Indeed there was. It's like Weber's out in front of the McLaren too.
Box, box, box.
Having seen that on the mini-map, we decided to make our stop. The exact same lap, we had a big moment through the fast right hand. I had to lift off. So into the pits for the first time this race. A lot of understeer. We've gone off to the runoff area. I'm just going to impede our lap time. Although we get out just in front of Devon Butler. But have we...
One more stop today. One stop left in our strategy.
But have we cleared Charles Leclerc? No, we haven't. Charles is in front of us. This means we're going to have to pass them on the racetrack. Not ideal.
The team want you to shift up through the gears earlier. They think it'll save fuel.
We also underfueled the car at the start of the race for a better start. Expecting it to be a full wet race, we won't be on the throttle as much, but we're going to have to manage that as well as we catch the young Monegas who leads this Grand Prix. But we've already caught up to the back of the car, so hopefully we won't spend too many laps trying to get past. We are outside DRS at the moment, but later on in the lap, as we can see here, we're very close to the back of the Racing Point. Very close. We're a lot quicker through turns 10, 11. But you just can't overtake there if you're that far back. You need to be side by side going into the corner, really. So we'll be held up a little bit longer, but now we're down the big straight. Can we get them into the chicane? Go to the outside, back into the slipstream, go to the outside again, braking at the 100-metre board, just round the outside, no contact between us, and we do take a foothold. But can we out-drag the Racing Point down the straight?
Nice move.
Got a lot of straight line speed, that car. And yes, we do have the position. But will it be for long as we complete that same lap? Charles got a really good run on us down the main straight. There is an overtaking opportunity just ahead of us. We're going to have to defend like crazy on board with Charles now. He gets up the inside. We brake ridiculously late and throw the car off the circuit. Cut straight back in front of the Racing Point. Probably an unsafe rejoin to the circuit there. But we've let the Racing Point go, so avoiding any potential penalty. Yeah, we just overcooked it really. Tried to get back as quickly as possible and then sliced in front. But now onto the straight before the chicane again. Can we replicate the same move we did on the previous lap? Brake to the outside.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
We had a bit more grip. There was a little bit of contact with the Racing Point. There is a new strategy. Stop 1 lap later for the medium tyres.
Copy.
Not sure if it was the right time to do that, Jeff. But hey ho. It looks like Charles got some pace on the left hand side of us, but it's not going to be happening there, mate. It's too dangerous of an overtake when you're that far behind.
We'll be seeing at least 20 minutes of light rain. Dries seem like the best tyre for now. We're leading our teammate by 9.8 seconds.
So we have a large gap over Lando. This is the Lando update. Currently P6 battling with the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, who is our current championship rival.
Lando is in the pits. Lando in the pits.
So Lando decides to pit on lap 15. I presume that's the new strategy, considering what happened earlier on in the race. So we boxed this lap. We've decided to take the initiative and not let that undercut hamper us, because I'd imagine if Lando's in, then Charles probably in as well, so we need to minimise the deficit to the Racing Point behind us. As she is disappeared from the timing chart on our left hand side, so it's now or never to stay in the lead of this French Grand Prix. Again with the same mistake into the pit lane though, that's going to hurt our chances a little bit.
Go now. Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
And it's confirmed both us and Butler are ahead of Charles Leclerc. So whatever happened to Charles, this is what happened to Charles. He was in a lot of traffic with the Haas and the Williams. So he takes the Haas up the inside, but the Williams is not yielding. I believe that's George Russell. Clearly on for a good result on worn tyres, holding that Charles Leclerc Racing Point at bay. So you can see just how much time Charles losing in this battle. Obviously when we were making our pit stop, it's still not past the Williams. Very similar to Gasly on the first lap with Valtteri Bottas. But Charles and Butler are now very close together, and Charles just gone around the outside of the Red Bull. This was a titanic scrap that was behind us for a lot of the race. We were out in front, we've got a 10-15 second gap, and that was what was happening behind. It will help us out a lot. All we need to do is just keep the same steady pace up, and these three are battling together. We can hold on and win this race. See, so Charles goes to the outside of Devon Butler. Can the Monegasque keep the position? No, he can't. The Red Bull cuts straight back across, but now Max Verstappen's involved. Can Max go up the inside for a podium position from 13th on the grid? No. Charles blocks that line.
Lewis is currently in P5. The difference is 13.5 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. The time last lap was a 1 minute 44.5.
So Lewis still in front of Lando, I'd imagine. Lando P6 and Lewis P5. That's our main championship rival at the moment. We are closest to him on points. We've moved away from Charles Leclerc now, so that's not relevant. So he's not relevant anymore. But if we can keep a steady race going, we've only got 6 laps before the finish. Hopefully we can finish this race out on top. You see, from the mini-map, we've got probably a 10-second gap to the cars behind, or something around there. So just keeping it steady. Still on the dry tyres, which has been a very, very, very surreal race in the rain. But we've locked up here, and that's going to cost us a couple of seconds. This is not good. We're red in both of the 2 sectors at the moment. It's probably going to be another red sector now. So are we losing time to the guys behind, and will we be caught before the end of the race? That will be the question.
Light rain will stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay.
So the light drizzle will remain for the end of the race. Only 2 laps to go, 1.5 laps to go, and we still have our gap to the guys behind. So it's going to be a monumental mistake for us to lose this race now.
This is your final lap of the race.
So on the final lap of the race, the battle for second hots up even more, with Charles going around the outside of Devon Butler to take second place. But down the long straight before the chicane, the Red Bull of Butler up the inside, retaking that position. It's absolutely crazy battle between these three, unbelievable. And I think that's probably going to be how it ends for those three, with Butler still in second place, because there are very little places to overtake after that section. It looks like a yellow flag.
Okay, some information on Bottas. It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car.
So that's unfortunate for the Mercedes team there. But we come through to win the French Grand Prix.
Superb
It was a good race. I mean, it's very surreal in places to have rain and then still stay on the dry tyres, but I guess that's the Paul Ricard circuit, and there was no standing water. So, to the confirmation of the results for the Season 2 French Grand Prix. We do in fact win the race from Devon Butler in second and Charles Leclerc in third. Max Verstappen managed to pick up fourth place from 13th on the grid. Could have been second, managed to pick up fastest lap though. Gasly ended up 11th from his front wing damage on the opening stages of the race, with Norris ending up 6th. And Bottas did retire. Verstappen still leads the championship with a 39-point lead over us and 54 over Hamilton, so that's going to be a tough one to close in, with Lando Norris currently 6th. Vettel still on the second half of the table actually with 12 points, so I'm expecting that Ferrari to be higher up. So Red Bull still lead the constructors, McLaren a second, Mercedes a third. There's a 50-point deficit to the Red Bull, so that's going to take a couple of races to close, but we can see what we can do later on in the season. So stay tuned for some GT Sport action and the weekly livery challenge. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.